Good morning. So this is my second time through Psalm 80. Hopefully it'll go better. I did test the mic. It is working. I hope that the Spirit will guide me and that I will say what is pleasing to Abba, our Father in heaven. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, you who lead Joseph like a flock. You who dwell between the cherubim, shine forth. Now, this is interesting. It is starting out going back to the blessing that was given to Joseph, the tribe of Joseph, by Abraham at the beginning. It says, but his bow remained in strength, so the archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But his bow remained in strength, and the arms of his hands were made strong by the hands of the mighty God of Jacob. From there is the shepherd, the stone of Israel. So in this time of calamity, we know that there's going to be a time when the tribes of Joseph are going to be under great stress, right? The archers have bitterly grieved him, shot at him, and hated him. But the Holy One of Israel, the shepherd, the stone of Israel, is going to strengthen Joseph at this point, the tribes of Joseph, and they will prevail. Now, we know that this has not yet happened because when the northern tribes, which were led by Joseph, when they became wicked in the beginning, they were carried off captive by Assyria. They were not strengthened. So this was a future fulfillment. And as a matter of fact, it says at the beginning of these blessings, it says that he is going to tell us, gather together and hear, you sons of Jacob, and listen to Israel, your father. That I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days. So this is specifically prophecies about what is going to be happening with each of these tribes in the last days. And specifically, I'm talking about Joseph, because that is what we're talking about here. Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, who lead Joseph like a flock. So this is Joseph calling out to be strengthened. You who dwell between the cherubim, shine forth. And who's on the mercy seat? Who's between the cherubim of the mercy seat? That is a clear reference to Yahushua Mashiach, to Jesus Christ. Before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh, stir up your strength and come and save us. Before who? Ephraim and Manasseh. Those are the two tribes that make up the tribe of Joseph. And look at this. And Benjamin, which is the other son that was born to Rachel. This is the youngest brother of Joseph, full brother. Okay? Now, this is very interesting because if we go to Jeremiah 31, it starts out, actually towards the middle. It says, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping, Rachel weeping for her children. So who would that be? Joseph and Benjamin. Refusing to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Interesting, huh? That is how that one starts out. And who is this addressing? Give ear, O shepherd of Israel, you who lead Joseph like a flock. You who dwell between the cherubim, shine forth. Before Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh, stir up your strength and come and save us. The other interesting thing about this is Benjamin would be associated in the latter days with Judah, because Benjamin was remained in the southern kingdom with Judah when Judah was dispersed, and probably has no idea who they are at this point. They probably just associate themselves as being Jews, as being part of the tribe of Judah. And remember that here in the United States, which is where I believe this beginning saga is going to occur, we are dealing with a place that has as many Jews as there are in Jerusalem. So this is definitely where we're going to find Ephraim, Manasseh, I believe, are the Native Americans, or at least among the Native Americans, and Benjamin. Restore us, O God, cause your face to shine, and we will be saved. Okay, this is the cause your face to shine is the blessing that Aaron and the priests were to bestow upon all of Israel. And Yahweh spoke to Moses, saying, Speak to Aaron and his sons, saying, This is the way you shall bless the children of Israel. Say to them, Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face to shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you shalom. So they shall put my name on the children of Israel, and I will bless them. So this is the way that his name is placed upon us. He will bless us, shine his face upon us, lift up his countenance upon us, and give us peace and be gracious. Okay, continuing the lament that's going on by Ephraim, Benjamin, and Manasseh. Oh, Yahweh Sabaoth, how long, I am in verse 4, how long will you be angry against the prayer of your people? Right? Because it actually tells us that in Isaiah chapter 1. It says right here, and when, I'm in verse 15, and when you spread forth your hands, I will hide mine eyes from you. Yea, when you make many prayers, I will not hear you. Your hands are full of blood. Wash you, make you clean. Put away the evil of your doings from before mine eyes. Cease to do evil. Learn to do good. Seek judgment. Relieve the oppressed. Judge the fatherless. Plead for the widow. Come now and let us reason together, saith Yahweh. Though your sins be as scarlet, they shall be as white as snow. Though they be red like crimson, they shall be as wool. If ye be willing and obedient, ye shall eat the good of the land. It's just like the blessing that Aaron said. He will be gracious to us. And also, that reminds me of 2 Chronicles, right? If I shut up heaven, this is 2 Chronicles, I always forget references, 7, okay? And where was it? Verse 13, if I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people, if my people, which are called by my name, shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face, and turn from their wicked ways, then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. Okay, this is a prophetic utterance that is bringing us to what Psalm 80 is talking about, which is this time when Joseph and Benjamin are going to be together in the land, and they're going to wake up to the state of their awful situation, and they are going to turn and they are going to begin to pray. We're going to see that really quickly in Joel and Jeremiah. I'm going to start with Jeremiah. Okay, a voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Okay, right here, let's go right here actually to Joel really quickly, because it's the same thing. Gird yourselves and lament, you priests. Wail, you who minister before the altar. Come lie all night in sackcloth. You who minister to my Elohim, for the grain offering and the drink offering are withheld from the house of our God. Okay, the incense. Though you lift your hands with many prayers, I will not hear you. Okay, the grain offering and the drink offering. Consecrate a fast. Call a sacred assembly. Gather the elders and all the inhabitants of the land into the house of Yahweh your Elohim, and cry out to Yahweh. Alas, for the day of Yahweh is at hand. It shall come as destruction from the Almighty. Okay, Same events happening here. Going back now to Jeremiah. What is it saying? A voice was heard in Ramah, lamentation and bitter weeping. Rachel weeping for her children, refusing to be comforted for her children because they are no more. Okay? Because the time of Jacob's trouble is not the time of, at least the way I'm reading it, it is not the day of Yah. It is not when wrath is poured out without measure on the earth. It is that the chastisement is going to begin on his house, because the New Jerusalem has to be established before the day of his judgment, so that the great Exodus can take place and those who have the testimony of Jesus Christ can be gathered to the place of safety, to the place called the New Jerusalem, now originally called Goshen. This has to happen. Okay, the Joseph and Benjamin have to come back out of Egypt again, and this place of safety has to be established. Refrain your voices from weeping and your eyes from tears, for your work shall be rewarded, says Yahweh. Who is this work? It's the work of the remnant, for they shall come back from the land of the enemy. Okay, the yoke is going to be removed from our necks. Okay, it says that in Isaiah. My son is upstairs right now singing from the Prince of Egypt the song, Deliver Us to the Promised Land. Oh my goodness, that's just beautiful. Isaiah 58, cry aloud, spare not, lift up your voice like a trumpet. Tell my people their transgression and the house of Jacob their sins. Okay, but he says, but this is a people who seek me daily and delight to know my ways, as a nation that did righteousness and did not forsake the ordinance of their Elohim. They ask me the ordinances of justice. They take delight in approaching God. Why have we fasted, they say, and you have not seen? Why have we afflicted our souls and you've taken no notice? Okay, though you lift your hands in prayer, I will not see it. Why? Why they're asking? Because they believe themselves to be a righteous people, to be seeking their Elohim in the right way. But in fact, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure and exploit all your laborers. All right? We're wage and debt slaves. We're a nation of wage and debt slaves. We are taking advantage of the laborers, not just within our nation. We are buying all of this cheap junk, and I don't know if you know how it is that we get the technology we have, but some of the metals that are necessary to run our tablets and our smartphones, there are slave camps in other nations that women and children and men are going down into toxic environments. They're dying very young, and they're doing it in order to eat, because they are literally slaves within that system in order to give us our trinkets. Your hands are full of blood is what we just read. In fact, in the day of your fast, you find pleasure and exploit all your laborers. Indeed, you fast for strife and debate, and to strike with the fist of wickedness. You will not fast as you do this day to make your voice heard on high. Is it a fast is it a fast that I've chosen? A day for a man to afflict his soul? Is it to bow down his head like a bulrush and to spread out sackcloth and ashes? Would you call this a fast, an acceptable day of Yah? You know, and the other thing that it talks about is that we fast for violence. You know, we're fasting to win a war against other people, you know, to go out warmongering. We don't know our God. We think we do, but we really don't. And what we've chosen is not good in his sight for the most part. Is this not the fast that I have chosen? So this is what he wants us to fast for, to loose the bonds of wickedness, to undo the heavy burdens. Okay? The wage and debt slaves, to let the oppressed go free, and that you break every yoke. This is what he wants for us. He is going to break the yoke. off of us of the Assyrian? Is it not to share your bread with the hungry, and that you bring to your house the poor who are cast out? When you see the naked, that you cover him, and not hide yourself from your own flesh? Then your light shall break forth like the morning. Your healing shall spring forth speedily. He says he's going to heal us. That's what it says in Isaiah 19, which of course I have up here. Let me just find it really quickly. There it is. It says, and Yahweh will strike Egypt. He will strike and heal it. They will return to Yah, and he will be entreated by them and heal them. And he tells us that we desperately need healing. In Isaiah chapter 1, he tells us the condition of the daughter of Zion. Daughter of Zion. Zion was the northern kingdom originally. The daughter of Zion are those who have come back from captivity, have become Christians, have received again the truth. And so they're the daughter of Zion. They're what came back from that. Anyway, so let me just go here. So see, I'm daughter of Zion. That's who's being addressed in Isaiah 1. And if you go up here, it says, why should ye be stricken any more? Ye will revolt more and more. The whole head is sick, and the whole heart faint. From the sole of the foot even unto the head, there's no soundness in it, but wounds and bruises and putrefying sores. They have not been closed, neither bound up, neither mollified with ointment. That is the current condition. She is sick and needs healing. This reminds me, let me go back to Numbers. To 2 Chronicles. What was it said? If I shut up heaven, that there be no rain, or if I command the locust to devour the land, or if I send pestilence among my people. If my people which are called by my name shall humble themselves and pray, and seek my face. Okay, come, let us reason together. Though your sins be as scarlet, I will make them white as wool, and turn from their wicked ways. Then will I hear from heaven, and will forgive their sin, and will heal their land. This took me somewhere else in my mind. Hang on. Right. Notice, this is prophetic. Notice right here where it says, if I shut up heaven and there be no rain, or if I command the locusts to devour the land. That should call our minds to Joel. This is the time period that we find ourselves in. How does it start? It says, hear this, you elders, and give ear, all you inhabitants of the land. Has anything like this happened in your days, or even in the days of your fathers? Tell your children about it. Let your children tell their grandchildren and their children another generation. What the chewing locust left, the swarming locust has eaten. What the swarming locust left, the crawling locust has eaten. What the crawling locust left, the consuming locust has eaten. And then who is this addressed to? These locusts. Awake, you drunkards, and weep, and well, all you drinkers of wine. This tells us exactly who this is being addressed to. That takes us to Isaiah 28. This is why we have to know all of his word. We have to know all of his word. What is Isaiah 28 addressed to? Woe to the crown of pride, to the drunkards of who? Of Ephraim. They're also referred to drunkards of Ephraim in the book of Hosea, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower. Okay? We're dying. Isaiah 1, what does it say? What does it say about them? It says, your country is desolate, your cities are burned with fire. That doesn't mean that they're literally on fire. It means just like we say, I'm on fire today, right? I'm being consumed by anxiety or whatever. Your land, strangers, is this not happening? Devour it in your presence. Those are the locusts, the multiple waves of locusts. And it is desolate as overthrown by strangers. That is the condition. So where was I before that? I was back here in Joel. Yeah, so we have the locusts, and then awake, you drunkards, and weep, okay? So he's calling us to wake up from and understand that we're in a terrible condition. What does it say? Woe to the crown of pride to the drunkards of Ephraim, whose glorious beauty is a fading flower, which is at the head of the verdant valleys, the green valleys. In A, it says valleys of fatness. Okay? We have been, up until recently, the most prosperous nation in the world. The fat valleys, where there's so much, where we have an extreme abundance everywhere. That's where Ephraim finds himself, in the new promised land. The pilgrims knew that this was a promised land. In their writings, they talked about this as being the new promised land. To those who are overcome with wine. What did we just read in Joel, that we might understand who we're talking about? Awake, you drunkards, and weep, and wail, you drinkers of wine. They use the same language over and over so that we'll make these connections and understand who we're talking about. The daughter of Zion is Ephraim. To make it more specific, we know now from Psalm 80 that it is Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin who are all together again in the land. So it says, behold, Yahweh has a mighty and a strong one. This is the Assyrian. Like a tempest of hail and a destroying storm, like a flood of mighty waters overflowing, who will bring them down to the earth with his hand? The crown of pride, the drunkards of Ephraim, will be trampled underfoot, and the glorious beauty is a fading flower, which is at the head of the verdant valley. Like the first fruit before the summer, which an observer sees, he eats it up while it is still in his hand. I do that when the strawberries come ripe every year. That very first strawberry, I pluck it up immediately, and it doesn't even make it into the house. In that day, Yahweh Sabaoth will be for a crown of glory and a diadem of beauty. Who? To the remnant of his people. So this is him saying, yes, I'm telling you that these terrible things are going to happen, but I'm telling you that there is a remnant that's going to be saved out of this. He says this over and over in all of these chapters of gloom that we have. For a spirit of justice to him who sits in judgment, and for strength to those who turn back the battle at the gate. But they also have erred through wine. There it is. Who's drinking the wine? It is Ephraim. And through intoxicating drink are out of the way. The priest and the prophet have erred through intoxicating drink. They are swallowed up by wine. They are out of the way through intoxicating drink. They err in vision. They stumble in judgment. For all tables, tablets, all of the teachings, all of the things that they're publishing are full of vomit and filth. No place is clean. Okay? Do you think this is the fast that I called? These people believe that they are righteous. He's talking about the religious leaders and the religious people. Whom will he teach knowledge, and whom will he make to understand the message? Those just weaned from milk, those just drawn from the breast? For precept must be upon precept, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. This is actually talking about the fact that we are reading these precepts of men. These are not talking about the precepts of Yah. For with stammering lips and another tongue he will speak to this people, to whom he said, this is rest, with which you may cause the weary to rest, and this is the refreshing. Okay? These are the people that received the good news, and that had the ability to receive the gift of the Holy Spirit, the day of Pentecost, right? Yet they would not hear. But the word of Yah was to them, precept upon precept, precept upon precept, line upon line, line upon line, here a little, there a little. It was all coming from the voices of their religious leaders, sitting there in the pews, taking it in, instead of seeking his word for themselves, instead of, as it says in Psalm 1, becoming like a tree. Those who meditate day and night upon his word will become like a tree planted by a river of water, who brings forth his fruit in his season, and his leaf shall never wither. Instead of becoming that, they became this, where they might go back and fall backward, be broken and snared and caught. There is a reason why the good news was became something that was published, widely published, before the Christian movement happened here in the United States. It was because we would no longer be snared by listening to religious leaders. Everybody had a Bible in their home. There was Bibles in our hotels. There were Bibles everywhere. The word of Yah was readily available to us, and so was the outpouring of his Holy Spirit. But we would not. We wanted instead to have men be rulers and leaders over us. Jeremiah 17, cursed is the man who trusts in man and makes flesh his strength, whose heart departs from Yah, for he shall be like a shrub in the desert, and shall not see when good comes, but shall inhabit the parched places in the wilderness, in a salt land which is not inhabited. Blessed is the man whose trust is in Yah, and whose hope is in Yah, for he shall be like a tree planted by the waters, just like we read in Psalm 1, which spreads out its roots by the river, and will not fear when heat comes, but its leaf will be green, and will not be anxious in the year of drought, nor will he cease from yielding fruit. I know that I'm all over the place, but it's because for me, his word is a tapestry. It is all over the place. As I'm reading, it goes from one place to another, to another, to another, because it's all the same story. It's the story of the redemption of Zion. And it's going to start with a little remnant who are finally going to break their hearts, turn to him, and keep the covenant. Anyway, it says, refrain. I'm back in Jeremiah 31. Refrain your voice from weeping. Remember, Rachel's weeping for the loss of her children. And your eyes from tears. For your work shall be rewarded, says Yah, and they shall come back from the land of the enemy. There is hope in your future, says Yah, that your children shall come back to their own border. And then who are the children? Here we go. I have surely heard he from bemoaning himself, right? Because we're going to go through this moment when we are going to be in such spiritual distress that our hearts are going to become truly broken. You have chastised me, and I was chastised like an untrained bull. This is really important that we understand that the bull represents Ephraim. We're going to come to that here in a minute. Restore me, and I will return, for you are Yah, my Elohim. Surely after my turning I repented, and after I was instructed I struck myself on the thigh. I was ashamed, yes, even humiliated, because I bore the reproach of my youth. Is he from my dear son? Is he a pleasant child? For though I spoke against him, I earnestly remember him still. Therefore my heart yearns for him. I will surely have mercy on him, says Yah. Okay, this is what we're reading about in Psalm 80, and we're about to go back there. Set up signposts, make landmarks. Okay, this is the establishment of the New Jerusalem. Remember, we're going to put a pillar. We'll read that really quickly. Isaiah 19. What does it say? In that day there will be an altar to Yah in the midst of the land of Egypt, and a pillar to Yah at its border. Okay, set up signposts. There's the pillar, okay? And it will be for a sign, there it is, and a witness to Yahweh Sabaoth in the land of Egypt, for they will cry to Yah because of the oppressors. Okay, this is the great lamenting that we're about to go through, and he will send them a Savior and a mighty one. Okay, there is the rock, the shepherd of Israel. We just read that in Genesis 49 or 48. Anyway, and he will deliver them. And Yah will be known to Egypt, and the Egyptians will know Yah in that day, and will make sacrifice and offering. Yes, they will make a vow to Yah and perform it. Okay, that is the new covenant that you read about in Jeremiah 31, which we're not going to read right now because this is going to be too long. And Yah will strike Egypt. He will strike and heal it. They will return to Yah, and he will be entreated by them and heal them. Okay, this is the story. This is the story, okay? So those are the signposts, okay? Wrong one. Sorry, I've got too many things open. Right here. Set up signposts, make landmarks. Set your heart toward the highway, the way in which you went. Okay, this is the second Exodus. So first the signposts get set up, the New Jerusalem gets set up, and then the Exodus happens. The Exodus that's going to be so great, according to Jeremiah, that we'll no longer talk about the original Exodus, because this is going to be such an event. Turn back, O Virgin of Israel. Okay, now we're not talking about the daughter of Zion, we're talking about the Virgin of Israel. Turn back to these your cities. How long will you gad about, O you backsliding daughter. For Yahweh has created a new thing in the earth. A woman shall encompass a man. Now, in the Peshitta, which is the Syriac version of the scriptures, it says a woman will be faithful to a man, which I think is a better rendering, because that's what it's talking about. We will make a vow and we will keep it. All right. And it's talking about the backsliding daughter. There are two daughters that Ezekiel talks about. There's Beulah and Hephzibah. I don't remember. Anyway, there's two daughters. You can go and look that up. I know one of them is called Beulah. It's the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, and they both end up becoming whores, right? And so this is the woman that will encompass a man, that will be faithful, that will stay true, that will keep the covenant. So let's go back to Psalm 80 and see where we are. I am so sorry. We didn't get very far, did we? Oh, Yahweh, I'm in verse 4. Sabaoth, how long will you be angry against the prayer of your people? What we just read about. You have fed them with the bread of tears and given them tears to drink in great measure. You have made us a strife to our neighbors, right? Aren't we at war with everyone? And our enemies laugh among themselves. Restore us, O Yahweh Sabaoth, cause your face to shine, and we will be saved. That's what he said. He's going to remember us. Ephraim is a dear child to him, and he will remember him, and he will heal him. That's what we're promised. You have brought a vine out of Egypt. You have cast out the nations and planted it. So this is what already happened. So there was the beginning of the Christian movement that came to this new land, that came out of captivity. This was the vine that was brought out, that brought the Bible with them across the many waters. You prepared room for it and caused it to take deep root, and it filled the land. This used to be called a Christian nation. The hills were covered with its shadow, and the mighty cedars with its boughs. She sent out her boughs to the sea and her branches to the river. Right? We were a missionary nation. We sent the gospel all around the world, did we not? Why have you broken down her hedges? But we've lost our hedge of protection. We have these different waves of the locusts that have now overtaken our land. The religious system that is destroying our faith in Yah. The medical system that is destroying our health, the agricultural system that is destroying our health, the scientific system, the system of science, which has become a false god. A wave upon wave of locusts have already devoured our land. Why have you broken down her hedges, her protection, so that all who pass by the way pluck her fruit? We're being devoured. The boar out of the woods uproots it, and the wild beast of the field devours it. The boar makes me think of China. It does. Because, the pig, they eat pigs. Pork is very important to them. Anyway, return, we beseech you. And I'm not talking about the Chinese people. They're beautiful. I'm talking about the wicked leaders of the world. Return, we beseech you, O Yahweh Sabaoth, to look down from heaven and see and visit this vine. Okay, this is the crying out. We realize that we're in this terrible, awful situation, and we begin to cry out. Look down from heaven and see. We're crying to the rock of Israel, okay, to the shepherd, just like it said we would do in the blessings that were given to the house of Joseph in the latter days. Okay, it is burned with fire, and the vineyard which your right hand has planted, and the branch that you made strong for yourself, it is burned with fire. It is cut down. They perish at the rebuke of your countenance. Let your hand be upon the man of your right hand, upon the Son of Man, whom you made strong for yourself. Then we will not turn back from you. Okay, we're going to make a vow in Egypt and we're going to keep it. Or Jeremiah 31, right? The new covenant. Then we will not turn back from you. Revive us and we will call upon your name. Restore us, O Yahweh Sabaoth. Cause your face to shine and we will be saved. So there is the basic story of Psalm 80. And I think we'll stop there because hopefully tomorrow, the next day, I'm going to do Psalm 81, which is actually going to take the story even further. So I pray that your households will have shalom.